Hi friends, let's take a look at Tezos together. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Tezos has been doing very well. And shout out to whoever it was that says, "Oh, I hate Tezos, it doesn't pump," and all the rest of it recently, because you can see then that we've actually had that on the go. Now, you'll not have been left too much at sea with me not having done an episode yesterday on Sunday about this coin, looking at today's price action, bearing in mind that we did speak about the 618 area up here in the 3,266, but 3,300 area as being somewhere that we could look towards the prices coming up as high as, potentially before looking for a sort of turnaround there if they were to make a high overall. And it's done it, it's done up here, and that's the golden pocket zone. So let's see if we can sustain this area, move towards the top side thereafter. Wouldn't that be nice? As you can see, we're quite extended towards the top side here, like this is drawn towards up the way, having moved out of side of our descending wedge area, which is obviously a bullish price action, a bullish pattern on the oscillator down below here. And we had, of course, similar type chat with regards to the actual price action itself, having moved up above this area, come back in, retested it as well, lovely jubbly, moved up beyond the 236, lovely jubbly, up towards the 382, decided to come back, retest the 382 as part of today's price action, as you can see here, down there as low as 2945, and then move on up towards the 618 and the golden pocket itself. Holy smokes, how lovely has it been to trade this one recently? So, of course, let's look towards things like, oh, sorry, just hid them when I went to look at them. Is this recent move up towards the top side bearishly divergent? Well, it's not, as you would expect, seeing it like that anyhow. Comparatively, compared to the past, how are we doing overall? If this was to just turn around at this point, could we say that this is just some sort of big hidden divergence? Blah. No, we couldn't at the minute. This is quite good to see that we've got room towards the top side in order to trend towards the top side here, if we do indeed need to have a pullback. So where would I like to see the prices not pull back any further than? Well, I think the 31,030 area speaks more or less for itself. Now, if we just take away all the drawings to make this a little bit clearer as I do this point, because this happens to be the same color as the way that I've got my candles, so let's just change this to be white, so you can see it there. This is where the Bollinger Band is coming in at the minute. Now, obviously, we're quite extended beyond that area, but this would then move up towards the top side tomorrow to accommodate that if we choose this, if the prices choose to stay above, the 3,150 area, which is what I'm looking for them to stay above. So that could also be a target for us over the next wee while. I'm not for financial advice. I'm not giving anybody financial advice, and it would be nice for all that to happen, and it's all happening at the right time to avoid these things from crossing the red dotted line, from crossing over the white dotted line and putting in a death cross. So we've never had one so far on this chart, and we may never get one. That's lovely. And we'll take a look down at the other ones in a minute, the other charts, the dollar parents and stuff. And we've got a chance here over the next wee while of the 21 crossing towards the top side over the 55, putting in a nice little shorter term time frame cross there, and giving us a move towards the top side. With sustainable a move which could potentially be sustainable with that 31,000 or 3,150 or 31,500, if I think it actually is in terms of Satoshis, and the 2,950 area here in terms of if it does need to find some support. Looking at this in general, it's looking pretty good. Okay, that's nice to see. But there's increase in volume throughout that period. But let's look up then towards a couple other things like the weekly time frame, and bear in mind that we haven't yet managed to make it above the previous weekly high, which is coming in at 3,580, or indeed 35,800 if it's in, which I think is a Satoshi value. And then if we were to do that over the period of the next couple of weeks, then you could see that there's a scope for us to be able to do that and to have the Bollingers expand back out again, having just done their contraction phase here, and potentially move towards the top side. So at the minute, we're still doing this, and if we did move towards the top side, what I want to see happen is with enough enthusiasm about it to not put in a third sort of more bearish divergence, because looking at this here high compared to the next high, this was a bearishly divergent one on the weekly time frame. So I want to see this move towards the top side, and by doing that, I want to see it doing it in a sort of a way here where we just put I had the drawings on there already, where this is a real deal, really dealio, and looking here, that's to be far too generous. But if we could actually get it as high as that in terms of the measured move, maybe we'd be able to throw off any idea of bearish divergence and move towards the top side, and that would be quite good in terms of the big old time frames, which I know a lot of you out there want to see, because of course a lot of you are just baking and staking and stacking them Tezzies and not looking to actually trade this mofo. But here, in terms of looking at this one, like, trading towards the top side here, very good, all good. But the Bollinger Band's kind of giving us a hint that at some point here we might get a bit of a turnaround into them if this red candle or any subsequent red candle pushes into this zone, just in terms of between this these lines here in the Fibonacci's, which is where the which is that's funny there. Was I just set up wrong? I don't know if my brain farted there or what. Anyway, coming back down here towards this area here to 3,000 3,250, moving down beyond that area, we could see just a little bit of a retrace, and we could be looking towards the 50% line here. Then, like I was saying already, to kind of operate as support, hopefully for us, should we need it too. We can also just kind of throw in speculatively, and this is of course very speculative, just as Fibonacci here, just to say, look, 3,190. If it did come down into this area and looked for a turnaround there, then that's the 236 at that area. There's the 50% we just spoke of at 3,150, and then we can see the 3,000 area is obviously significant with the 382, the 50% on this Fibonacci there coming right in at the median line. So if we did go down towards the downside, of course I don't want to see it going down any more than 2,960 now that we've managed to achieve all that we have achieved, which is really quite good. Between this high and the sort of previous high here, as you can see, 4 hour time frame, quite a bit of bearish divergence, just like, not quite a bit of, but it's quite visible there across all three of the oscillators down below. And we have this red candle at the minute, and we've been tracing towards the top side, breaking back down below the Bolly band here. Could see a bit of a pullback here, and we could lose some of the percentages that we've gained so far today overall if that's the case. Failing that though, then of course what we're looking at towards the top side is this 786 coming in there at the 3,500 area. That of course, that we want to see the prices going up to, we spoke about 3,500 I think when we were looking at the weekly time frame, did we not? Yes, 3,600. So you want to see, like, as part of that, let's see how that goes over next. Well, let's go into the dollar prices anyway. The dollar, the smaller. The bigger, the smaller the dollar. $3.05 currently here on this exchange. Now just look here towards the HIT BTC exchange. Oh wow, it's actually done something here over the period of the last couple of hours, I think. Yeah, here we go down to the 4 hour time frame. It's really just jammed the prices right up. HIT BTC. Check it out compared to the other charts there. This is something that I was planning on talking about during the episode if it continued, because old school Tezos viewers will know that yes, a few hours ago I was looking at this saying, later on today, this is the so there at 11 a.m. I was looking at it saying, so if the whatever. Anyway, we've had a degree of amortization happen between the price action on the charts, this having moved up 15% today in order to catch up. I was going to say to people, there's a massive opportunity there on the HIT BTC charts. Now we know it's a shitty exchange, we know it is, but there was that opportunity. As you can see then, that's happened. So anyway, moving on. We've moved back within the Bollinger Bands here on that exchange, and this one we're outside of them. I do expect this to kind of have a bit of a turnaround, but who knows how this exchange is going to go because of its whole weirdo nature. It's still 16 cents away from the other one. It was 10%, more than 10% down on the other exchanges earlier on today. As you can see, on the terms, this is just the 1 hour time frame. This sideways movement just now, a little bit of a decrease in the volume, a little bit of the old sort of bearish divergence kicked in here. So we've had a bit of a effect happen on the prices over the last handful of hours, apart from on, crazy HIT BTC. Looking here between the highs, you have a bit of the old bearish divergence looking here and looking up towards the latest high. That's going to continue as we look up the time frames. There we go in the 4 hour time frame, same thing. Look towards the 12 hour time frame and it's disappeared. So between this high and the previous high. So overall, you can account for the health of this thing and say that we have got a decent, nice, strong trend towards the top side, potentially kicking in now. And but we could have the chance that we could have, can I see it? Yeah, if I click on that, then it brings up to the top at least for a minute, so you can see it. You can the Bollinger Bands there as a sort of little indicator of where we could see the prices want to stretch back down to over the last wee while. Is it's coming in there at about $2.90. But I would look towards the $3 area for sort of support in the meantime, bearing in mind that that's where our previous high was in there at $3.05 as well, which we're just kind of breaking up above. I can extend this white line over, I suppose, at the minute and say, like, that was quite clearly a sort of profit-taking line. And well, let's just use the old ones instead then. This is just a subscriber vision, subscriber vision. Subscriber vision, dum dum. Bum. So in the past, we already looked towards 3 levels for the price action to move up to, and this would be it. You know, the 315 area, getting it and actually opening and closing above 315 may lead towards the prices finding their feet up towards that 360 area. But of course, we know that the 786 over here will offer up significant profit taking, probably in around this inflection point in the market if we do go up that, you know, that next 10% or so with this one. If we were to get a pullback then though, then we can look down towards these areas such as the 50 simple here. This is a 24-hour time frame looking at the dollar prices as well, so it's looking at 370 for that one. So it'd be sort of that $3 mark could be like, you know, maintaining it could spell eventually a move initially of sort of 5% back up towards this target, then additional 10% thereafter. Breaking down below it could look at a move sort of, you know, 10% down the way overall if that were to need to happen. Hoping to find footholds in amongst the previous inflection points, or perhaps where the Bollinger Band might be coming in at if we're looking for just that 5% pullback there in terms of this one overall. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the minute. I think I'll probably leave off there for the charts for today. Bear in mind that you can get in touch with me on the Discord. There's a link to that below. I'm still looking at the charts just now just to see if there's anything that I want to talk about. You know, the volume really kicked in there just during that period, which was nice. But you kind of, you know, really got to wonder about what's going on here with this one. I suppose there's one thing that I can end up by just kind of pointing out to people, like, look at this. This is one of the most liquid traded things in the world, Euro USD, and look at the volume sort of signature on that one. If we go down to the 4-hour time frame, look at how it goes: step, 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 drop, step, 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 drop, and all this sort of stuff here, right? And look at the USD JPY pair, you know, similar sort of setup, and then you know you get this sort of confusion period in here, I suppose you could call it, sort of, where we came down to the bottom of this area that made it back up above a 236 Fibonacci retracement. You know, I don't just point this out for folk. You know, if you're looking at Forex at the minute or whatever, then you've gone back above the 236 there at 107.70, I think, and we're above that now, currently above the middle of the Bollinger Band, blah 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 blah. But you can see how there's like this happened in and around this period here of the volume, and the volume kind of picked up a bit thereafter. But beforehand, during this other sort of staccato movement, it was very much regular. Look, another example of this. Where have I got oil? Here's oil. Look at that. I mean, like this just because a lot of people are only looking at cryptos and don't have experience looking beyond these markets. And I just wanted to point out how in the most traded commodity in the world, oil, that's what that looks like. In the most traded Forex pair in the world, that's what that looks like. And in these crypto land things, you know, you don't have that quite so much. So it is very interesting in one sense or another to look at the volume, you know, and at the same time, it's also can be very quickly misleading in a way too. So just wanted to point that out to folk who maybe didn't know. So there's a nice little taster, a little sort of extra lesson for people, because I love the Tezos community. So there's a little bit of knowledge for you, whatever. That's all good. Let's see as well, by the way, if you were looking towards this and you wanted to be totally actually no, fuck it. Catch you later. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next episode. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because gosh darn it, this is the best crypto channel on YouTube. Also, be sure to join me. I say me, but join us in the Discord. There's a link to that in the description. And yeah, I'll do a couple of bonus coin videos this week. I'm not going to do one today, I don't think, you know, because I hate Mondays. Great. Okay, catch you later. Thanks very much for tuning in. See you next time.